everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jalene with Jovi Star Astrology, and it's been a hot minute since I've been on, so I'm sorry for that. I apologize for those of you that have hung in there. I super appreciate it, but I have had some things going on in my life, just like the rest of you, and I just haven't been able to get content to the table in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I feel really bad because I did promise that I would pick up a Pisces horoscope when I was on last, and that didn't happen. So if you are a Pisces rising and you have had a reading with me before, get a hold of me on my website, through my website, jovistar.com, or send me an email. If you've had a reading with me, you've got my email address, and I will do a personal horoscope at no charge. If you are a Pisces rising and you haven't had a reading from me, or you are new, send me an email or a contact through my website or directly to me and tell me what your story is. Tell me what's going on. Tell me why you'd like a reading, and I will pick somebody and I will do that reading free of charge. When I say I'm going to do something and I don't do it, I feel like I need to make it right, and this is my gesture to apologize and to make it right in some way. So I look forward to hearing from you. My contact info is in the description box if you missed it. Okay, that said, announcement is I will no longer be doing monthly horoscopes, and here's why. For me, I have a Gemini stellium, which is all about communication and information, data, talking, reading, writing, learning. I gather a lot of information and I need to put it out there, which is what I've been doing, in getting my channel going. Gemini doesn't need to do anything with the information. Really, Gemini just needs to gather the information and then, get it out there in some way. However, Virgo does need to do something with the information. They need to organize it. They need to make sense out of it. They need to calculate it. It needs to be correct. And if it's not correct, they are their own worst critic. So I have a Virgo stellium and a Gemini stellium, and I never felt from the very beginning that doing horoscopes was right for me. But I did them because I was trying to get my information out there. I love astrology. I love the interaction. And YouTube, requires just a regular output of information so that it will circulate everything for you, and then you can build your channel and grow and things like that. And I got that advice from people who have YouTube channels as well, and it's good, solid advice. The problem for me was that it didn't feel authentic. And that's not saying that horoscopes are not authentic when you click on a YouTube channel or you read them in a magazine, or Google them or whatever. It just means that for me, knowing that first of all, it's your rising sign, usually, not your sun sign, although you can relate them. A lot of these things can be relatable in one way or another, so there's a fine line there. But for me, it wasn't specific enough that I could feel like I was delivering information that was correct. And I'd watch my videos back and I'd be like, I'm like a robot. And the reason for that is because it didn't feel right to me. So your rising sign is important. Of your rising sign is important. Wherever your rising sign falls can completely change where everything sits in transits, and then that symbolic energy coming from those planets is going to be different. Also, you can be a rising sign. You can be a Pisces rising or a Gemini rising, and your planets fall in different houses, which means that the effect of the and the symbology of that energy on your life, how you're seeing it, experiencing, or you need to learn it, is going to be different for every single person. Now, I know there's no way that you can get a correct and exact horoscope for any rising sign. An astrologer can't do that when you're trying to deliver it to the masses. So it's totally okay, but it just didn't feel right for me. So I won't be doing them anymore. And I think this is going to be huge for me. I feel much more comfortable. I'm so glad that I said that, you know. So, yeah, no more horoscopes, but I can do personal horoscopes. I have reasonable price for those if you want to know that, as well as anything else. You can get in contact with me, website, email. What I will be doing is talking every month about the symbology and the meaning of the sign placement each month and what might be happening and how I am relating to that myself, how I see the world relating to that, you know, things that might be going on. And my hope is to actually bring people on that have significant placements in those signs and ask them how they're experiencing the energy of that sign in that month, or how it's affected them over their life. So that's what I'll be doing. And this month is Cancer, so we are going to talk about Cancer season, Cancer energy, what it means, where to look for it, and at the end of the video I will tell you the area of life that you can look at to see whether or not you're feeling the energy of the month in a specific way or a specific place in your life. But just know that you want to pull out your birth chart and make sure that the sun in Cancer season is falling in the house that I am talking about based on your rising sign. If it's not, adjust it. But I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that because of the reasons that I explained previously. Okay, now I got that out of the way. I want to talk about Cancer season. So we have the sun in Cancer, we have this new moon in Cancer last week. We also have Lilith in Cancer this month. We will have Mercury moving into Cancer very early in the month, actually on July the 5th, and we will have Venus moving into Cancer. But Cancer energy in general represents all things related to home and foundation. So we have, and it's ruled by the moon, right? So that's our moods. The moon is reflective, right? So this is a month where, you know, if you're significantly affected or have significant Cancer placements, your moods might be affected in one way or another. That could mean that you're extra moody, or it could mean that you're feeling happy. Again, depends on your placements. But Cancer energy represents our moods, our emotions. It represents our mother, nurturing, how we're protective, what makes us comfortable, our home, our family, and our environment, our ancestry, where we come from, right? Our familial foundation. Those are all the things that Cancer represents. It can be a very sweet and emotional type of energy. We're talking about the moon, but it can also be protective and hidden, right? So Cancer, the symbol for Cancer is the crab, and very hard outer shell, very watery on the inside, hard to get to if they go into a protective state, right? So Cancer, and people with Cancer placements, you know, no matter what that is, right? If you have a Mars in Cancer, you have a Sun in Cancer, you have a Moon in Cancer, you are fiercely protective of your family, your children, and women in general. There's a significant connection, obviously. Cancer, the mother, it's female issues, right? It's women. So I want to talk about those things that are going on, how these issues struck me and what we see going on in the world regarding those issues. And, of course, we have the Roe versus Wade that was overturned. That is definitely a Cancerian issue. It's just caused a lot of controversy, and that will continue. We have primarily, though, and this is really what I want to talk about when it comes to Cancer season and Cancer energy, is issues around home, family, and security. And this issue is so big. It has so many legs. And, in my experience, based on what's been going on for me the last month, I've been able to sort of jump into another perspective where this is concerned, and I want to share that because I think it is a huge issue right now. So I have, like I said, I've been doing a lot of things personally, getting ready for a lot of things, and I am selling my house. In fact, it's already sold. Now, I love my house, and I've been planning this for a long time, and over the last year and a half, I have actually remodeled my house, so it's absolutely gorgeous. And I did it myself. I subcontracted out myself because, of course, I have Cancer in my second house, so that is about valuing home and security, and I value my home. So I did it myself, not to mention that, I have a lot of experience in how to do those kinds of things, manage those kinds of projects because of the history and the work that I have done for years. And so I love to do those things, and I chose to do it myself. So I've been working up to this sale of my house for a little over a year, and it finally came time to actually do it. And boy, I did not expect the emotional response. It has been so hard for me to let go of my house. And very Cancerian, right? Very Cancerian. I guess you could kind of say that, I knew I was going to sell it, a lot of changes in my life in general. I didn't expect that. I guess, it's sort of kind of the law of unintended consequences, you could say. So it's been kind of hard. But anyway, I sold my house, and I'm going to be moving. And obviously we all know that the real estate market, which is hugely a Cancerian issue, being home and, which includes real estate, has been hot. The real estate market has been hot. It's been a good time to be a seller. And I've been watching that market for the last couple of years as well as I sort of get towards, get ready to do this. And it's been strong. So I felt I knew a little bit about it, and I had a great real estate agent who's a longtime friend of mine. And so we did a little strategy, and it sold much quicker than I expected. So it sold in 4 days. And I'm like, wow. So I'm like, well, where am I going to land now? And that's the thing, is I have so many things have changed in my life, right? I, like many other people, are trying to figure out where home is now. How much has our home life and our family life changed? And where do we go from here? And I hadn't decided that yet. I don't really know. So it happened so fast. I'm like, well, I have to rent a place, and I haven't rented in 20 plus years. And so I dove into that part of the real estate market, trying to find a place. And boy, were my eyes opened. Now, we are all hearing about the increases in rent. We know that home values have increased. Of course, now the interest rates have gone up. So it's sort of, dampened or brought that down just a little bit, but that's very, very recent. But jumping into the rental market and finding out what I found out, and I have a business background, and I might be saying some things that some people might not like, but I don't really care. I mean, anybody that knows me knows that, I never really followed the rules anyway, and I say how I feel and why I feel that way, and it just is what it is. So if you're in the real estate market, or if you are work for a leasing company or a rental company, you might want to turn this off, because I don't really have a whole lot of good things to say about it in a broader perspective, But here we go. So I go into this rental market and I'm looking for places, and I'm trying to stay in the area that I live in, because I have, grandkids and I know this area. I'm born and raised in this area in my state. And the first weekend I looked at 8 places. 8 places. And there was only one that I went into that when I went out didn't want to make me cry. It was that disgusting. And the prices, what they want to rent places, absurd. It really, I'm walking out thinking, now this is the height of greed. I come from an industry that was pretty darn greedy. So I'm not a stranger to it. I understand and know how to recognize it. But here it is in an industry at the severity that it's at, completely pricing people out of the ability to secure a home for their family. I didn't know what to think or say, and it's been very emotional for me. I did some research and I found out that there are, at least in my area, and I'm sure it's this way nationally, that the rental industry right now is monopolized by, 3 or 4 really big property management companies who, when you go through and you look at the listings, it's like over and over and over again, I would see these same property management companies. And, it's $50 to put an application in. It's $50 to pay for the credit check. Some of them require an earnest deposit right up front before you even apply for a place to live, or at the same time you're applying. So people are into this process just to be considered for anywhere from $50 to $100 to almost $500 per property. Now, you don't get your application fee back, you don't get your credit check fee back. You are supposed to get your quote-unquote upfront earnest money back. But if you've got a family and your rent has just been raised, and here in the area I'm in, there's no cap on that, right? Landlords can raise the rent as high as they want, and I've heard, up to 50% and even more, where they have to move because they have no choice. The problem is there's nowhere to go. If they can't afford the rate increase, they certainly can't afford to find a place to rent. I went into reviews, and I've never been one for online reviews, right? I always say it's tabloid news. There's 3 sides to every story. Usually it's crazy people that complain, and that's true in most cases. But when you go on a leasing company's site, or you Google their reviews, and overwhelmingly there are mass amounts of recent reviews that say the same thing over and over. So what is happening is they are allowing people to apply for properties and keeping it open so that, and then the first day, like some of these places, like I'd go and I'd look at it and 2 hours later it'd be rented. Or it would sit there forever and you wouldn't hear anything back, and then find out that it was rented like 3 or 4 days ago. So what's happening is they're advertising that a property is for lease or for rent, taking a mass amount of applications, and all of the deposits that come with it, and then picking one person after they've taken their sweet time. And you can't get a hold of a human being. I'll just tell you that. You cannot get a hold of a human being at any of these places. They're taking the money, and there are people out there looking for houses that just do this over and over and over again. And the leasing companies have a zero shame where this is concerned. And that's what the reviews say, just overwhelmingly over and over and over. And then if somebody's lucky enough to actually get into a property, trying to get a hold of somebody to deal with something that needs fixed, like, you know, where I'm at, it's very hot, air conditioning, going days, and then still not being able to get a hold of people. The real estate industry has gone batshit crazy. Now, it's an opportunity, which is, you know, what our country is founded on, an opportunity to make money. This is capitalism. This is great. But what about our patriotism? What about just, aside from that, do we give a shit about other people? This industry doesn't. And I think there are things that can be done. I am working on something that I can do to contribute, because this has become, it's just in my head. It's like, it's just been gnawing at me, right? Now Lilith, which is in Cancer, that's exactly what Lilith will do, right? You know, Lilith fights back when she feels suppressed or backed into a corner or manipulated. And that works both ways. There is a Black Moon Lilith, you know, there's a shadow side to that where it's actually the environment or the energy coming out of Lilith is projecting that out, in this case to the community, where they're trying to manipulate and, you know, sort of, you know, act shady and seedy and, you know, all kinds of crazy weird things going on in terms of, you know, causing problems for people when it comes to home and family. This is not good. There were times I was in my car and I'd be driving, you know, in the neighborhood, like I said, that I grew up in, and it was sort of like, this I was born and raised here. This does not feel like home. And this, I don't know what this feels like, but it doesn't feel like home. And I'm still pondering that. Now, I did get a place, but you know, and I actually chose to not go through a property management company. I was like, after I read what I read, I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. I'm not doing it. Now, I didn't know what I was going to do if I get a place, but I wasn't going to do that because I was not going to contribute to this environment in that way. So it took quite a bit of time, which was pretty stressful, and I actually was able to rent a place from an actual real estate agent who answered the phone, and she's actually acting on behalf of her sister who owns the home. And she was, you know, listen, not everybody's bad in every industry, but you got to look for it. My point is that if you're not in a panic and you have the wherewithal, slow down and find the best alternative that you can find rather than being taken advantage of. So I did find somebody, and when I did, and she called me and said, oh, we chose you. I mean, literally, it's an interview process. Like, tell me about yourself, right? You know, I'm probably the type of renter that somebody would want because I'm single and I live by myself. I just have my little 10-pound dog. I just sold my house, right? So, you know, they're not worried about, you know, having the money to pay the rent and things like that. So I finally got a house. But when she gave me the news, she was very nice, but she didn't sound happy about it. And I even said to her, I said, well, you know, she said, we're really happy to tell you. And then I said, well, you don't sound so happy. And she said, it's because we narrowed it down to 3 people. And we had to pick one, and she felt bad having to tell the other 2 no. Why? Because there are so many people that are over and over and over again being told no. And if you do find reasonably priced real estate or a rental property, there are hundreds of people lined up, and so it's almost like a lottery. So it's very, very sad. And I've been talking about the real estate market in other ways for a very long time. Why do we need more $1 million penthouses? Why do we need, luxury this and luxury that? Listen, for those people that can afford it, fantastic. Have them. There are a lot of opportunities, there are a lot of places. It's all fantastic, but we don't have affordable housing. So I'm feeling very strongly about this. The symbology this month of Cancer season is hitting me and coming into my awareness in this way. Now, some of you might be saying, wow, you sold your house, you jumped on the bandwagon and you made money. Well, before any of you go there, partially that's true, I suppose, but I lived in my house 17 years. I put a lot of work into my house. Absolutely gorgeous, took great care of it. And when I listed my house, I purposely listed it for much, much less than other people in my area were listing their houses for or trying to get. Now, that's part of a strategy. Yes, it brought me a lot of traffic in the first few days, but I still, in the end, didn't sell my house for what other people in this area have sold their houses for. It was a win-win situation. I was able to choose who I sold my house to, and I absolutely decided from the very moment I put my house on the market that I would not sell my house to an investor. That was going to turn it into an Airbnb in a single-family neighborhood and try and lease it out for anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a month, which is also happening, and they're sitting there for months and months and months when the rent could be reduced to something reasonable, thereby increasing the inventory for people that are looking for houses, rather than waiting for 2, 3, 4 months out of the year where you can charge an exorbitant amount of rent and have a big, get a big payday. And that's what's going on. So, I said I'm not selling to an investor, not doing it. And I'm not selling this is so emotional. It's like I'm not selling my house to a nasty person. I was pretty lucky I didn't get any nasty people. There was one family I was like, I told my agent, I'm not selling my house to those people. I don't care what they offer. Now, I've done this stuff before. Like, people that know me in my industry, they've always said, like, you shoot yourself in the foot, right? Yeah, I've always been that way. I've always been one to take a little bit of a loss because, my opinions always override that, but I'm totally okay with that. That has to do with, my Saturn exactly opposite in the 10th house of career, and my image, my public image, completely, directly opposite of my Virgo stellium, which is like, I have to kind of do the right thing at the end of the day, even if it screws me or makes me look bad, which, my entire career was about that. But, it was okay, and I ended up selling my house to a single mom with 2 little kids, just starting her life after a divorce, and that was, me many, many years ago. So I'm very happy about that. But I'm not happy about the housing situation as it is today, as it has been. I do think it's going to flatten out a little bit. My firm prayer is that greed comes back to bite these people in the ass, because it needs to. And if you are somebody that is looking for a place to live, have been displaced from your home because of cost, I'm very, very sorry that is happening to you, and it's serious, right? It's serious, and I think that we can all do something about it. So that's Cancer season. Lilith in Cancer. Mercury will be going into Cancer, right? So we're thinking about things like that. We're focused on our home, family, mother, comfort, security. This is causing a lot of emotion. The moon and Mercury is movement. So there's a lot of movement around these issues, as well as issues regarding women in general, which I talked about a little bit. But this month in Cancer season, I got a heavy dose of Cancer symbology, and I really think that we need to do something about it. So that's my Cancer story, right? That is how the astrology of this month hit me right on the side of the head. And I'm a bit fired up about it, as you can all see. Definitely fired up about it. So I will tell you, if you're fired up about it too, send me an email, drop me a message. If you are in real estate and you see this happening and you want to do something about it that's a little bit different, get a hold of me, right? I would like to talk about that with whoever wants to talk about it. I think there are things that we can do. And, I talked to a few people, they were like, well, that really doesn't affect me. That is exactly the attitude that we don't need. Like, if you're in this country and this is your home, right? If you decided this is your home, then we can all do something about it. All of us. Okay, so Cancerian themes for the month. I'm going to go through the rising signs. If you are an Aries rising, this is actually sitting right in your 4th house of the home. So definitely coming right close to you, affecting your family, your home life, real estate, possibly, your ancestral roots in some way. Again, Cancerian energy is emotional. Could also be your issues with your mother and or your father. Whatever you're doing, you're hunkering down and probably staying pretty close to home. If you are let me get this, I gotta get these, I'll tell you, these charts. If you are a Taurus rising, this is hitting your 3rd house, so you could be, nestling in, snuggling up, staying close to home in your neighborhood, interacting maybe with your siblings, either taking care of, cooking for, hanging out with. This is, Cancer is also water, so you could be doing some fun things with siblings or relatives around water. Again, cooking, taking care of. You are very protective of your friends and family and your local neighborhood. So somebody with 3rd house Cancer might be having a block party, right? That would totally fit for Taurus rising with Cancer in the 3rd house. If you are, let's see, what do we got next here? Oh, Gemini rising, right? If you're a Gemini rising, this is hitting your 2nd house of values. So your home is valuable to you. It's where you feel nurtured. It's where you feel the most protective. It's what you will protect, right? Your income, finances, it is everything that you value. You feel valued when you are nurtured and protected by others. This Cancer season hit me right there in the feels, as you can see. So for Cancer rising, you're ruled by the moon, right? So definitely emotional. Cancer people with Cancer placements, definitely Cancer rising, ruled by the moon. That's your chart ruler. So this could be a pretty emotional month. You might kind of feel like, you're pulling back and kind of keeping your emotions to yourself. Maybe, really feeling like you'd like to reach out. You need some care and comfort. People might be sensing that you need a little love and comfort. Maybe you're a little emotional this month. Also, taking care of your body is something that you're probably doing this month. Maybe water sports, things like that. You could be, very protective of your home as well, and have some strong opinions about home and family this month. For Leo rising, This is happening in your 12th house. So this is kind of maybe a walk down memory lane, home, family, your mother. Things may be coming up in your subconscious that you're needing to work through if you've lost a mother. Maybe you're really, really concerned about issues regarding women this month. It could be having dreams about your mother and the women in your life. You could also be very like trying to protect whatever situations are going on with your home and or family this month. You could have some things going on behind the scenes that are pretty intense and causing a lot of emotions. So that's Leo rising. If you are a Virgo rising, Virgo, your 11th house is lit up. So if you're a Virgo rising, you're entertaining friends, right? You are out there bringing all your close friends together in your community. You might be entertaining, doing some fun things, feeding them, offering them a fun place to gather. This is all about friends and community for Virgo rising. Some kind of party going on this month for Virgo rising. For Libra rising, this is happening in your 10th house. All Cancer, the sun is traveling in Cancer in your 10th house of career. So you are probably really focused on your career, creating new things, trying to increase your income, your reputation. You're just really probably putting yourself out there. You are very emotionally connected to the work that you do. People know that. You're very protective of that. As a parent, you could be really, sort of bringing your kids close. 10th house is parents, mostly the mother. So you could be involving your children somehow in your work this month, creatively, possibly. So Libra rising. If you're a Scorpio rising, the sun is in your 9th house. So maybe you're going to visit your mom and she doesn't live too close. Cancer in the 9th house, you like to, maybe you want to make your home somewhere else, right? And you like long distance travel. You are feeling maybe emotionally drawn to some kind of spiritual retreat or learning more about even women's issues or real estate. You could be going to real estate school, anything that has to do with, the higher mind, higher education, how that fits into your spiritual makeup and your beliefs, and also travel. So that's Scorpio rising. All right, Sag, if you're a Sagittarius rising, this is happening in your 8th house. Cancer rules your 8th house, which means that's very emotional for you. So your connection to women is very serious on an intimate level in terms of how you combine resources. This is also family legacy. So if the 8th house is also the house of it's death, sex, taxes, things like that. So, I hate to say it, but, you could have a mother, you could lose a mother or a prominent female figure this month in your life. The 8th house is also incubation, right? It's what's growing under the surface. So you could have, you could be pregnant or be taken care of or be married to have a partner that's pregnant. You could also be trying, focused on your debts, right? How you're getting out of debt, maybe paying off a home. That's Cancer in the 8th house. Worried about or working on the legacy and inheritance that you're going to leave your family and your children, or you've come into some kind of an inheritance. Also, significant soul connections. That falls in the 8th house, and you may be, really reflecting on your emotional your emotional feelings and your emotional bond with those kinds of relationships during this month. Processing a lot of emotions for Sag rising. If you're Capricorn rising, this is in your 7th house of relationships and partnerships. So heavy focus on the women in your life that are significant in your relationships, possibly creating a home with somebody. So that can be marriage or just taking a relationship to a higher level. 7th house is all relationships and partnerships. So, it could be business, right? You could be going into business, into a real estate business, or very busy in the area of real estate. Something with home, family, women, going on in terms of your relationships during this month for Capricorn rising. All right, Aquarius. So, Aquarius, this is your 6th house. So you might be working on your house, right? You've got a lot of things going on in your house, or you might be entertaining people, taking care of people, lots of busy work in and around home and real estate. It could be co-workers. Maybe you're organizing potlucks or parties or trips for employees or co-workers. That's the 6th house. It's also the house of health. So, maybe you're not feeling that good. Or, maybe you've seen a dietitian, something with digestion, 6th house can be that. So maybe you're doing, have a few science projects, right? Or trying to somehow stabilize what your diet is and try and figure out how you can change that. To make you feel better. Cancer is the land, the home, what grows from what we nurture in the earth. Very good for 6th house Cancerian people, Aquarius, to actually try to eat organic food grown from the earth. Maybe you're planting a garden, right? Maybe you're working really hard on planting a garden. That would be 6th house. And finally, for Pisces rising, rising, last but not least, and I'm so sorry, Pisces, and at the beginning of the video, I said get a hold of me and we'll figure out something so I can make up for missing your May horoscope. But for this month, you have Cancer in the 5th house. So that is the house of joy. So you might really be that's a lot of socializing, maybe in your home, with women out there. It has to do with food and fun and water. You could be going on a cruise with people, meeting a lot of people. Maybe you'll meet somebody, a romantic interest, while you're on a vacation somewhere on the beach. Something like that. This is the house of joy. It's also a really good month for you to nurture your creative abilities. Also children, you could be nurturing children this month. So that is the area of life that Cancer is symbolically affecting for Pisces rising. All right, so that covers everybody. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your listening to me rant and rave about my Cancerian experience. We have a full moon coming up soon. Cancer, Capricorn. This should be interesting. This could be shaking the foundations. Capricorn is foundational types of things. I'll take a look at that and report back a little later, and hopefully I'll have a few videos about other things that are going through the area of Cancer this month. Let me know what's going on with you in Cancer season. I would love to hear how this is affecting you. I'd also love to hear your opinions on the housing market and women's issues, things that are going on right now. We do have a lot of Aries energy, so I think people are pretty pissed about what's going on and they're fighting back. They're either really pissed or they're feeling attacked and they're attacking back. When we take away people's or make it difficult for people to feel secure, obtain housing and take care of their families. Again, there are consequences to that, and if there's anything that we can do as individuals that are able to secure housing for ourselves, it behooves us to do that, because if we don't, we're all going to live in a world where we have many, many people that are feeling panic because they can't take care of themselves or their families. Another thing too is the formula shortage. That is a very Cancerian issue. So lots of themes that we can pull from to talk about during Cancer season. This is real life. This is real talk. Astrology is symbolic, and we can bring it into our experience and relate it to astrology, which is super cool. It's validation. It's understanding. It also helps us, figure out, like what is, our internal compass, like what am I supposed to be learning from that, and then what can I do? So big things going on in the world right now around Cancerian issues, and this is a good month to talk about it. So I'll be back for the end of the month to talk about it some more. And I am going to continue my adoption series because that is important to me, relevant to me, and I think relevant for other people who are trying to find their place in the world, just like me. So thanks for coming. Happy 4th of July if you're in the United States. Go hang with your family. Hug your children. Call your grandma. My grandson's listening. Anyway, you guys, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. Take care. If you haven't subscribed, please do like and share. I'd be grateful. Talk to you soon.